We are going to go through my selects of this year's official selections of posters worth viewing, worth noting. And we're going to be releasing nominations within the next 24 hours, and there will be a handful. I think we're going to be limiting it to 5 nominations for Best Poster. And so let's go through. All right, so we're going to start. This is my poster that I created for my marketing, and this is kind of how I always brand myself. But basically, I guess why I bring this up and show this initially is one, I don't want to spoil any of the other ones, and two, this is basically just a bunch of found imagery that I put together to be able to create basically homage to Close Encounters of the Third Kind. So the mountain, what is that, Devil's Head? Am I saying it right? It's a real place. That's actually a tourism photo that I color corrected because I couldn't find anything that was high enough res from Close Encounters of the Third Kind. Mixed with a cloud image and then a star image to be able to get that backdrop, get the background behind. So I outlined the mountain, and then I outlined and I found a really good highway photo of looking down the highway. So I cut the sky out of that one, and then yeah, that's a truck photo, and that was like the best truck photo. I thought that I'd actually be able to get better photos of a truck, but yeah, I was actually thinking about buying a 3D model and kind of doing this. This is when I used to have like a goatee and now I have a beard, and I used to have hair, so yeah, that part was better then. But let's go through this year's, and I organized them kind of by, you know, not necessarily strength, but some of my preferences. But this one's awesome because, and just to kind of dissect it, I think that you can see we've got a forest shot from the actual movie, and then it's outlined and maybe faded in with a tree, like a tree line there in the middle, and then a sunrise, and then fading in the clouds with then a star image and then a couple planets on top of it. And one of the things I really liked about this one that I think is really strong is that the way that they lit the kind of neon font that they used for Aeon. I thought that that was super, super cool. And it really draws your eye to it. So overall, this is a really great execution, and I really liked it a lot. Blindside had the advantage of having 3D. One of the biggest issues that I find is that when you're off shooting a movie, a lot of people, they forget to actually take photography that will support the movie. And that's a critical error, especially when your cast and crew scatters and they get like different hair and all sorts of stuff. So it makes it kind of difficult. So you need to take that into consideration when you're shooting a movie. But in the case of the 3D, this movie had all their assets already available to them, so they could render it at any particular position. And this is like super creepy Matrix, and they did such a good job with this film. You should go and check it out for sure. Blindside, great movie, great poster, very, very cool. So when you don't shoot any photography while you're on set and you really need to market yourself, you get yourself a really good artist. I interviewed the filmmaker for this, and he was telling me about his collaboration with an illustrator that he knew, and they both work professionally, and so he did this as a favor, and it's really, really cool. And I considered myself to be a pretty artistic person, but like these illustrations, I'm always just kind of mind boggled about how good it is. It takes years and years and years. I used to be able to draw pretty good when I was in studio art school. I was in there for a hot second and didn't really necessarily like the abstract nature of it, but and then I switched over to graphic design. I used to be able to draw pretty good, and right, anytime I try to draw recently, it's just terrible. So props to you, PKD 9000, because this is a really cool execution and a lot of fun. So what I like about this one is that it really kind of takes it kind of reminds me of like Humphrey Bogart or old school westerns, and they I would argue to maybe desaturate this comp and give it some distress over the top of it to make it look old school westerny. But it's pretty clean and it's very eye catching, and I really like how yeah. I mean, the composition is still old school. It still screams, you know, golden era Hollywood, and then the font is a lot of fun. Very comic font. I think I've used that on something before. At defont.com, you can find all sorts of fun stuff. I bet you that's a defont. But Cosmo, nice poster, good execution, nice job. All right, so Toxic. So I put this one here. Actually, this is the one that I thought was the strongest of the concepts. And you're always trying to portray exactly what type of movie you're advertising here. It needs to be very apparent. And with Toxic, I felt that this was just super creepy, and him kind of hiding on the edge of the poster, and it's outside and it's raining, and he's just being super creepy, and his character's super creepy. This is a great film. We did a Q&A with Mike Manning, and it reminded me of Michael Mann type movies. What's that Tom Cruise movie? It's what's his face? He's the assassin. I forget the name of it, but either way, very very lonely LA, kind of like Heat type vibe, and I felt like this poster is really good. Now the struggle, and when I was talking to the director on this, the struggle of this is that the Keisha Castle Hughes was in Game of Thrones. So when you're trying to market your film, get on a festival, you want to put anyone that's got any name recognition. She's one of the Viper's kids, so she was a badass character in Game of Thrones, and so he had this concept brought up just to kind of illustrate, the strength of his cast. Um, and so it's completely understandable. And having multiple posters is actually kind of a good idea. And then you can kind of spread it around. And a lot of times when you get through the distribution process, you don't end up even having the same poster after all. And I'll illustrate that. We'll have to take a look at Black Pumpkin. What happened to my poster? Jerks. So again, another opportunity where you don't necessarily have any photography, and they had plenty because they had a bunch of like really crazy characters in this experimental film. But what I feel the strength of this is just the white space and the use of the kind of marker font. The font selection was really cool, and they made basically line art and illustration art into their artwork. And the advantage of doing something like that is that you can scale it, so you can get up to like bigger execution. So if you want a 27 by 40, having something like this is adequate. These days, I bet you could probably get away with using 4K still images that you steal from your movie. But if you're shooting at standard HD, it's not going to be good enough, particularly for a 27 by 40 inch execution. So you want to make sure that your imagery and what you're using as your key art is scalable, so that you can adapt your marketing and your advertising to be able to accommodate whatever request is coming your way, because you're going to get a multiple, and we're going to go over that in a little bit. So, but either way, the white space in the font selection of this is really very cool, and all the different colored characters, the representation of the characters in the middle or whatnot, alludes to what's happening within the film. But it's a cool poster. Good job. What I really liked about this one is I felt like the font treatment was okay. I really like the underscore that they've got in there. It's a nice use of typography. What I thought was cool here is that we get a pretty decent eye image, but adding all the sci-fi stuff in the middle to kind of like express the nature of the theme of the movie. And that's just an easy overlay. Probably get some graphics and use. You could get like a grid graphic off of the internet, and then use kind of like a spiral filter. I'm forgetting the name of it. You can like spiral an image layer, and then change the mode to screen or multiply. I always get them confused, but either way, so screen and multiply are your best friends when you're trying to merge imagery to make it look like a consistent and evened out scene. So Paka. All right, so I put this one first is that I did a Q&A with the filmmakers for this, and they felt this was the strongest one. And it's very traditional. It's got its tagline, and it's got a really creepy title font, and sometimes you can come up with a logo and it's stylized. It's not just font, and then you can utilize it pretty much anywhere. Where I feel like this is more effective is here. So same logo, a little less stretched out, very simple. I'd wear this on a t-shirt. I think this is really, really cool. And I would have put it everywhere as part of my film festival run. And I'd have t-shirts and I would send them to people. But this is a lot of fun, and no photography. You didn't even have to worry about it. You got your really high res photo here. That's great, but this actually I feel does a better job. It's very like, what? Why is there a raccoon wearing a fur coat? I don't understand. If you saw the movie, you totally understand why that's the case. But I felt that the illustration on this was really, really good, and I'd wear this on a t-shirt. So good job, Parka. In Bright Axiom, super creepy. The face thing is just very striking. The use of color on this is like really, really good, and I felt like the font was really nice. It's got a really kind of futuristic, old school feel to it, and so really liked how this turned out. And based off of the movie Cult or whatnot, the background image is actually pretty creepy, also. What do we got next? Donut Shop, another. You get yourself a good illustrator. I don't know if this has got to be illustrated. I need to really talk to the director about who did this, because get yourself someone who can draw really well. You could come up with a really cool poster, and he was not lacking any type of imagery whatsoever. That's like one of the best things about Donut Shop is that the image is so vibrant, the cinematography is so vibrant, and this poster really kind of leans itself towards that vibrancy. The bright pinks and the kind of neon and the kind of futuristic vibe that he's got going on in his film. This is really cool. Honestly, if I was him, I'd print this out and have it on my wall forever. I would continue to hang that thing because it's artwork. It's cool. Good job, Donut Shop. Shasta Triangle. This is actually just, I guess this is one thing that you really should kind of think about when you're trying to get a film off the ground. I've been to AFM, everybody, is trying to get a movie off the ground. We'll go to AFM, and you got to have a production package, right? Your production package has your synopsis, has your still photos, has all your bios, and blah, blah, blah. But I feel like, it's like one of the things that you need to do is you need to be able to create something when you have nothing. I mean, Shasta Triangle's got a pretty decent trailer going on, but this poster is really, really strong. Like the upside down trees, the logo, the hanging girl. This, I'd want to see this movie. I would hear a pitch based off this movie, or based off this poster. And if that was on the top of the production package, then, I'd be like, all right, tell me more. But if there's something that's super amateur and it looks like, really bad, DVD cover from like 1987, it's like, dude, I'm not gonna bother wasting my time looking at a project. And I feel like that's a huge part of the production package process is you got to make sure you get some decent artwork to be able to express what's going on, so you could sell to other people on it. So I feel like the Shasta Triangle did a really good job with that. Polly Pocket, and this just I like the merging of the lowercase Polly and Pocket. You just basically created a lockup that in logo terms, a lockup or a logo or like your package with the directed by Mario Corso, written by Veronica Macari. I hope I'm saying their names right, but that's your lockup. So you need to be able to have that in a PSD file, whether it's in layers or it's in a transparent ping, so that people can repurpose it and do advertising for your project with it. And we'll talk about sizing, graphics, whatever at the end, but that lockup, that Poly Pocket lockup, I thought was a really nice lockup. And that the photography here is really, really nice. They got a really nice still photo of their cast. And so basically it's like when you're on set, try to schedule yourself as still photographer to come in and be able to capture a shot like this that all of a sudden becomes the marketing for your film. And you want it to look good because you're going to be looking at it for the next year during your film festival run, or until you decide that you've gone far enough with the project and it's time for the next thing. But yeah, I thought this is a really nice photo and a really nice use of topography. I maybe would have put like a glow or a drop shadow behind it so that the white would pop a little bit off of the background. But and I would have picked a different font for the tagline. Maybe it's just that it's got too much kerning or whatever. But and then I would have given it probably another inch down on the y-axis, so it's not hugging the top so much. But good job, Polly Pocket. I like it. This is for an experimental film, and I keep looking at it. It's like, man, that should be black, right? But it's a green. It's green with red, and it looks very desaturated. And just the imagery on this is like super sharp. And sometimes you can get away with just, especially depending on the subject matter, just use a serif font. That looks like old school Times New Roman or some variation of it. Maybe it's that Greek font that always goes around. But yeah, I mean, that's all caps, old school, sans serif, same font they've been using since the Romans. Since Roman, what would be a good phrase there? Since the Romans invaded Central Europe, they've been using that font. But I like it naturally. Good job. All right. So Showstopper. I mean, I think the metaphor here is just really good. It's all about this girl that's supposed to be, she's battling with being pretty versus being tough and wanting a box. And that's the theme of the movie. And I think that's very evident here. It's like she's wearing, the wraps on her hand for her boxing and then her fancy dress. And they used it. And the image on this is just super nice. And I can't tell if she was shot like that or they put those curtains behind there. Let's see. Let's get in. That looks like consistent grain. Oh no! I'm ruining it. Showing you what's next. But I don't know. That may be one shot. Either way, it's super strong and it's definitely really good for the production package. And the font and the white or whatever is very eye-catching. Even though I don't know if I necessarily like that font. But overall, I feel like this poster is really, really good. So, good job with getting your set photography going down. Showstopper, nice work. American Sci-Fi. See, I love to throw grain on stuff. This one's got a really good distress image. When in doubt, when you want to like merge some graphics, when in doubt, throw a distress layer on top of it. Hit it with the screen mode. Or the multiply mode, and that's kind of what they've got going on here. So they got a bunch of found imagery from the internet. Looks like a couple of illustrations, and I feel like the font selection on this is really, really good. With that red backdrop, it gives it a very epic feel. It gives it a very Spielberg, very the font sometimes can just do wonders. I feel like the font selection on this was great, and the way that they treated it. And sometimes you just got to get crazy with your outlines because that's got a thin black line, and that's got an extra white on the outside of it, and that just gives it depth. It's like a technique I used to do packaging back in Chicago, and the guys that were making like ice cream packaging and all this stuff, they were just a master at just throwing multitudes of strokes around things to give it depth and importance and throw a gradient inside. A lot of the work on this is being done by the overlay. Yeah. So you can see the subtle white line at on the outside of it. So that one's pretty cool. It's a good use of fonts, American Sci-Fi. Good job. All right. This one's awesome just because it's like a practical thing. I mean, this record doesn't really have anything to do necessarily with the plot of this movie. And this is kind of an abstract movie, and basically it's like um, expressing life through music. You know, it's tension and like happy days and etc. It's a really fluid and fun short film, and this is like using a practical element from your film and just doing photography of it, or even getting a stock photo of this, and then just kind of applying. Connor White, he did a really good job. He did all these graphics and did a really good at the font selection. This felt like, and he carried this font over. And a lot of times you don't see this is that the font being used on the marking isn't what's being used in the film. And that always looks disjointed to me. And I understand, like, sometimes it's like you got picture lock and you're not going back and redoing it based off of what the distributor decided to do with your font selection. So, but in the case of like a short film, you're probably not going to necessarily worry about it. So this incarnation is probably going to be what it's going to be. But yeah, I mean, this one was super, super cool. And, you know, he actually carried this over into the title design and the cover photo. So he did a good job. Nice job, Connor. Good work. Chomp's an animated, so, you know, there you have the advantage of having artists on staff. Being the director. I believe she does all of this. So really good use of negative space. The illustrations are nice. The colors pop really good, and the font, which looks like a Futura, it's bold, not just bold. It's extra bold. It looks like Futura extra bold extended, maybe, and then a Futura thin regular for a film by Navjot Kaur. I wonder how close I am to that. I don't remember all the font names. There's so many of them, it's hard to. But that looks like sometimes you can just use like a standard font. Futura is like a really big go-to that designers use all the time. So that's like your sans serif and naturally or whatever. You know, ever since the days the Romans invaded Eastern Europe. All right, this is the darling of the festival. We Are the Prototypes is a great comedy. It's a mockumentary about this fictitious band that loves cats, and it's got a really like kind of Devo '80s vibe. And they did a really good job. This looks like a choose your own adventure novel, and I believe the actor in the middle, and his name is escaping me. I'm not sure it's somewhere. Bryce Churchill, I believe his name is Bryce Churchill. Did this. Huh, my wife's Jen Phillips, and they got a JJ Phillips. Interesting. Um, so Bryce Churchill did this poster design, and you know, it's awesome. It looks like a cover of a Choose Your Own Adventure meets an early Nintendo game, or maybe an Atari television game cover. It's fantastic. I really love this. Great movie. Great poster. Good job. Hacked. Nice photo. Got some good color with the blue on the left. Again, really good still photography, doing most of the work. The movie is about this girl who has her private information hacked, and she's going through a lot of panic attacks. And I think that the use of all the it tells you through suggestion what the movie's about through all the while expressing chaos, and that's why I feel like this is so strong. And I really liked how the sci-fi effect, the distortion of the kind of future, oh, internet's coming to get us look. They did a really good job with their lockup there, and their branding and their logo is really strong on this one. So good job, Hacked. Again, one of those people that have the advantage of having an artist on staff. This is an animated film, and I don't know, like they can draw all this stuff, and this looks all like they pulled from the movie, and like I don't know. It's a really pretty poster. And if I was Gene Kim, I'd have this printed out in at least 11 by 14 size and carry it with me and always have it on my wall because it's really cool. And the font selection is really nice, and the white on the blue background really pops. And then making the credits and all the information at the bottom, a light blue makes it a little more subtle. Because I don't know, the worst is when you make your credits so annoying that it ruins your poster. So having it small and kind of set back, I feel is it's helpful. Let your artwork do the work, and because nobody cares who's on the credits. Nobody cares. Woo! I wasn't expecting this. All right, so this is a little sultry documentary film, and what I thought was cool is that they use their photos for one of the letters, which makes this instantly their lockup. So using the phone, and it's very, I don't know, sexy, risque. And I think the only thing I would have done is I would have pushed that a David Bush film down, smaller font, and more kerning. But really nice photo, and I like how they used practical parts of the photo to be part of their logo. It's cool. Afro, really fun film. The yellow and the black in this one makes it really colorful, and it's very eye-catching. And without spoiling, Jen Shaw, she created a really fun film, and I love the font, and I love the reverse where the white is the shadow, and it really pops on the metaphor for the film being the afro. And without ruining it, go check out Jen Shaw's short, because it's a really fun, and it's really well shot. And the white text on the black afro artwork really pops. So my eye was instantly drawn to it when I was going through the selection process. I was like, ooh, what is this? And then there was history after that, official selection. So good job, Jen Shaw. Nice film, nice poster. Yeah, this one's super cool. This was a sci-fi with a kind of creepy vibe animation, and again, they have the advantage of having illustrations and animation cells and artists online, and the the short's all about survival on the moon and desperation and loneliness and the dark and the shadow, and then the creepy thing and the back. It's very cool. It's very Nosferatu. Yeah, coming to get you, Barbara. So good job, Oxygen. Very cool poster. I'd print this out too. I keep it with me always. All right, so I bring this one up because I designed this. Now, and this kind of goes to like when you go into festivals, you need to be prepared. And when I mean prepared is that you're going to have different types of assets, right? So, and this is how you can kind of get around it. Now, this was a grab that it's actually 2 screen grabs from their film. And I basically just threw them into a poster, and then I inversed the screen grab of the title, which is actually the title of the actual video. And this turned out really awesome. I mean, honestly, they have really good artwork and stills from the video to be able to work with, so that makes it easier. But I didn't have access to any of their files, and I was able to come up with something kind of cool and very iconic and very eye-catchy with just 2 still images pulled from the video. And I don't know, the filmmaker would, like, they can't print this out. This is all web-based. I mean, this is only 1200 by 1600 pixel JPEG. So printing this out for an actual live event, if we ever go back to live events, I hope we go back to live events. God, I want to get out of my house. This won't be good enough. So And this is music videos. A lot of the music videos come through, they don't have that. They don't necessarily think about it as something that they need. But just to illustrate what I mean by this, I'm going to switch over to, we're going to switch over to, all right, this is HBO Max, right? I just want to illustrate something. We got ourselves a cover photo here, right? Which is basically probably 16 by 9 aspect ratio. I didn't measure this thing. Actually, let's look. So if you do Command Shift 4, you can look. So that is 360 by 215. 360 by 215. 360 by 215. No. Yeah, so 5. No, that's not quite, because 16 by 9 is 562. So it's a little long. It's not quite HD. And so they also have squares, see? Like a CD. And then they got posters. Pretty much anything from a festival standpoint, and our website is really no different. You need a poster, and then you need a cover photo that goes up top here. So a lot of times I end up just using stills like I just did. But here, Terra Beach, and we'll just go right into this example because this is definitely one of my favorite executions from a marketing standpoint, is that now they've got a horizontal lockup of their title. And I'd be interested to know if that font doesn't come with that interior stroke, like all of those bars in there. But either way, the orange is awesome. Then the dark font for the tagline is really, really good. And then they've got their poster artwork. So and this kind of goes to one of my points of making it easy for people to help you. And by saying that, I mean is that you have all of your information, all of your assets ready to go, and you've got it in a consumable way to where people aren't fighting to put your film into their article, into their film festival, into their interview. It's like if you're ready and you know that you're going to need to go, and you just look at HBO Max, you need yourself a cover photo, which will go for any type of horizontal placement, like up here, right? So if you're in a header video, you're going to need a backdrop for that. And you're going to need a square for this type of execution. Actually, this is one of the first times I've actually seen a square executed. Because if you go to Netflix, pooper scooper, that's my niece. So you've got yourself a header image, right? Header image, header image. This also ends up being a share image too. We'll go through that in a second. But they all go, this is all cover photos, right? But yet here we are. We've got cover photo, but then we also got poster. So you need both. So Schitt's Creek, let's look at Schitt's Creek. Oh, this is better. So there's your horizontal, there's your poster, there's your horizontal. You need both. And it looks like you need a square too. And I actually don't even consider that. So, yeah, so this poster doesn't do a good job if you're sharing this on social media. So you need a horizontal lockup to share on Facebook, right? So there's Terra Beach on Facebook, right? So you need this square. This is 1200 by 603. Is it 603? I think it's like that. I look every time. So you just go on Google and you say Facebook cover photo size. So let's look it up. Facebook cover photo size. See there? I search it all the time. Where are we at? This is not what I'll... So you go in here. Actually, share image size. That's what I meant. There it is. 1200 by 630. 630 is weird. So that's what I try to eat. That's one of my specs. I want 1200 by 600 up here so that I have a good share photo. so that you can share it, so I can share it, so that it's easy for us to promote you. It's easy for people to include you in what's going on. So make sure that you've got, a well-formatted synopsis. Make sure you've got yourself a tagline and a log line. Make something up. Have one of your friends write it for you. So, because you're going to need all this stuff. Let's take a look at what's on their website. So this is just Helix Real Entertainment. So this is their production company. All right, this wasn't what I was looking for. But what about Instagram? So you need a circle one. There's your square. So you need it for like profile photos. So there are posters everywhere. Lots of graphics. So that's Terra Beach. That's one of my favorites. So, but yeah. So just remember, you need multiple things. So when you get your poster done, make sure that you get PSDs. If someone designs a poster for you, make sure you get your layered PSDs so you can move this stuff around and be able to come up with different utilizations of your imagery. So perfect example, another example here, we're going to go to the schedule so I can show you the banner. It's like having this, like Black Pumpkin. It's like I took their DVD cover and I had layered files and I moved it around so it worked within a 1250 by 155 banner, which is basically 728 by 90 aspect ratio, which coincides with a fair amount of advertising, but I don't know how much that's changing. So this is our banner that we have in here in our schedule. This is for our sponsors, and it's also for movies that we're promoting. So let's go back to photos. So there's Terra Beach. Actually, so that was the end of that presentation. So another fun thing that we do is we have blocks, and this is how we're organizing all of our shorts, right? There's Dave. Dave and Naked Gun. So grabbing stuff from the internet. There's Chris Corbin, and he's another one of our hosts. And basically, I basically created all these photos and used our hosts' imagery to be able to market the different blocks in our festival. So this one's just of Chris. There's Kurt in our experimental block. That's from Eraserhead. All right, so this one's a little embarrassing because that's me, and my wife's just like, "Why are you naked?" I'm like, "That's not really me. This is Photoshop." So this is from one of my favorite documentaries, Anvil, the story of Anvil. And if you haven't seen it, you're doing it wrong. All right, so we have an uncanny block, and last year I couldn't come up with a good poster for it, and this year I finally did, and it turned out pretty sweet. I don't like the fact that in life I am now the guy that gets photoshopped into the bald dude, but that's just life, man. That's life. So now I am Professor X. So there's Shada, there's Kurt, there's Chris. I made him into the Phoenix, and then there's Ryan in the back, and he's Apocalypto. So this one turned out great. This one's from this year. So dramatic. I need something super dramatic, and this is one of my gallery of infamy. It's from Easter last year. So 10th Commandment. I just feel a little egotistical, but I love it and I think it's funny. So, and I really like how the fonts really became. So there it is. There's that sans serif font being used since the Romans invaded Europe. All right, this one turned out great. I forget, I had to there's really not a lot of photos for Midas. So we have this Midas block, and Midas is supposed to be the king. He touches gold. Surprisingly little imagery on that. He's actually got a really cool backstory. I thought I was going to be I don't even know what king this is, but it reminds me of the king from Robin Hood, Prince John. It looks like Prince John, Robin Hood. Yeah, there it is. Boom. Oh. It's pretty much the same exact outfit. Either way, I wonder if that's where they got their inspiration for his outfit. I mean, it's pretty much spot on, right? So, I don't know. That makes me laugh. But this one turned out great. And so, Dave, you really need to get this printed out onto one of those canvases that you get from Costco so it looks like a painting. I'll give it to you without the font. You need it. Oh, so. Oh, this is from Working Girl. I'm not, like, I feel it's much easier when you have, like, I could take really good photos of myself doing what I need to, but when you go on someone's social media, try to steal out of the media, I'm just going to let you know is that you need to put a couple grumpy photos in there and a couple photos of like you not looking mad, because then you will get way better Photoshop birthday gifts from Matthew Jones. Is that if you actually put some more variance of emotion and camera angle on your Facebook page. I guess that's why I've been doing more AR work, because then it doesn't matter and you can do it with wherever you want. But either way, that was a fun one. Made me laugh. This one turned out sweet. Ripped this off right from the It poster. Put Ryan McGranagle in the middle of it. Ryan's the director of Black Pumpkin and Bloody Bobby, so he's Mr. Horror. So this is what turned out for his. And then Sci-Fi Black from last year. There's me as Rucker Hauer. Actually, I had Rucker Hauer bust in on me when I was trying on bathing suits at the Sports Authority. He totally busted in. I was just like, it was like that scene where he rams his head through the wall at the end when he's like chasing Harrison Ford in Blade Runner. It was just like that. Oh, music. Eddie Van Halen died this year. That one hurt. That one hurt the most. Thanks, 2020. You suck. This movie was kind of terrible. Well, I forget the Michael Myers movie. This was like the nail in the coffin, but it turned out pretty funny for all these guys. You Got Mail. That was like one of the first ones that I did for Kapow. Oh, I love Abbott and Costello. One of my favorite things to do is make pancakes on Sunday mornings and watch Abbott and Costello movies. So this one, it worked okay. I need better photos of Kurt and Dave. Spice Black turned out pretty sweet. I wish I had hair like Sting these days. Shade is super creepy in this one. And Kurt, I made his eyes green. So, oh yeah, Working in Black turned into the rom-com Black. Tween Black, I just ripped this off from the South Park character creator. So, I got mad nunchuck skills, y'all. So, yep, Roger Rabbit. I need a better photo. See, look, the perspective is off on this one. If he was looking just a little bit to the left, camera right, this would have been a sweet one. This one turned out pretty sweet. Used the Photoshop filter to get that kind of painting effect. One of the things I have found is that when you use a Photoshop wet brush tool, you can really get a good painting effect. And I feel like that could be super helpful if you want to go with kind of an old school feeling, like the way that Tara Beach did, is that theirs is very illustrative. You know, it's very, isn't that very good there, but it looks very illustration. So the Photoshop work that they did on this one actually turned out pretty sweet. So, yeah, just because I found them all, this is from last year's festival, and this was our winner. This won Best Poster, Initiation 21. I really like the illustration work on this one. But another good use of vector art. You can scale this up in a variety of different ways. This is just, good photography, and I really liked the logo design on this one. I liked all the stress that they put in there. That was pretty sweet. Yeah, overall, the concept on this one, it makes me want to see this movie. I don't think this ended up being the final version of it. The Photoshop work on this is really nice. All the blending and the light flares, and they've done some illustration on top of photos to give it kind of this take on me look. And then the logo is actually pretty sharp also. Random knowledge. Actually, we just had a Q&A where we were in the lobby talking about this. We have another filmmaker that he's got another film in here in our festival this year, and Michael Sharon, that's who. And the texture, the Photoshop work on the faces is really, really sharp in this one. And then this, I would want to see this movie. Obviously, it's a composition of 2 or 3 different photos where they just kind of outline stuff. I would say that the foreground is outlined, the band's outlined, then they got some draped photos outlined out whatever was behind the drapes. And it looks like there's even a wall. Maybe the wall and the drapes are the same thing. And then the photo of the girl in the pool. So that's taking a couple different image sources and being able to create a scene. So that was really nice on this one. This is pretty cool because basically it looks like they got a wallpaper pattern, they got a wood pattern, they got a floor pattern, and then they got like an old school TV image, and then they threw some still photography of the cast in the middle of it. This one turned out pretty sweet. I love this one. If I made Appy Days, it would be on my wall. Really good use of illustration. Again, you have to find someone that actually can draw pretty well. So this is pretty close to what the Kaleidoscope guy looked like. Now this one, I would say, one set photo, and then one mountain sunrise photo. Hit that with the gradient tool. Nice. I like the spacing on the midnight trip. It's a really nice composition. Elvis versus Buddy. James Hume designed this. He's the writer. Elvis versus Buddy won the screenwriting competition last year, and I'm sorry, James, I still have not finished the podcast. We did a screen reading, or we did a reading of his script with music and everything, and it's been crazy since we shot that. I was in a month-long murder trial too, right after last year's festival. It's kind of crazy. Ask me about it sometime because I'm not allowed to talk about it. Limbo, good use of some creepy photo. Again, getting a good still image when you're on set. Because I don't think that tattoo was real, from what I recall, with the behind the scenes thing. But like that Limbo font, that looks like hand drawn. So sometimes you can just take like a Sharpie, draw that out on some paper, scan that sucker in, and then have Photoshop just lift the black from the white, and all of a sudden you got yourself a logo. So really good use of negative space, and I really like the font's very, conservative. It's not very flamboyant, but what makes it cool is how they use it as a mask for the imagery that's behind it. It's pretty sweet. And they did that for like all the titles within there. Yeah, I totally watched this. This one turned out cool. The font, I think that's Eurostyle. That's a Eurostyle extended medium, maybe a bold, but with a white glow, and then looks like a lens flare going over the top of it to make it look kind of like it's in a cloud. It's pretty sweet. It looks like a star image they got off the internet with some imagery of the Badlands, maybe, and cut that. So that's like a tourism vacation photo of someone of the Badlands. Outline that sucker. Throw in your sky or space imagery. Couple gradients in the middle for creating that light beam. You got yourself a Star Wars movie, and then you basically outline those people standing there. They may not even be real people. Could be 3D people. Thought the lockup of this was really good. I believe that this was based in Chicago, and that looks like the Chicago flag underneath it. But really good still photography. So they had the advantage of having a still photographer on set. So, and the different uses of, I don't even know if that's the same font. There may even be 2 different fonts, or maybe it's just you can use part of your title and make it like a bold or an extended bold, and then create this kind of lockup, and then that looks like a medium or whatever that font face is. Maybe that may be Helvetica Null Extended Black, something like that. That looks like Helvetica Null. So this looks like a still from the movie with a sky photo, and then another still from the movie of Jesus, and then a black gradient on the bottom. And I really like the narrow, curved out font for the Last Christian's title. Sometimes you can take a really boring font and just extend out the kerning on it and give it kind of this dramatic feel where it's super, super wide. So, oh my God, can you hear that? I hope you guys, it's like people, it's like Fast and Furious out on Long Beach Boulevard. I like the use of the stress on this. They've distressed the logo. They've created this lockup with the bars in there. And then the layering of this I thought was really, really cool. So how many different images they had in there. Got some got yourself a China stamp. Got your actors, got your credits, got your logos. Looks like another type of official document over the top of it. We the people. You know, you can make something really, really dramatic just by layering and masking and using blend modes within your within Photoshop to be able to come up with something really, really cool. Now it looks like they even used a mask, or maybe that's even one of their distress layers going on top of it, giving that kind of different coloration on their tagline. But that was last year's. So, but let's go back. Let's go back to Black Pumpkin. The web. All right, so you do a fast find on Black Pumpkin. This is how I got to know the Kapow guys, is that I did the poster design for Bloody Bobby, and then I came aboard and I did the poster design for Black Pumpkin. Now that is my poster. Let's see where it actually, oh yes. So this is the one that I designed. I thought it was pretty sweet. I've actually got it on my wall behind me. Let's see. So there it is. The ring light's on it, so it's hard to see. But turned out pretty sweet, right? So when this went to DVD, so we got me there. Oh, that's Bloody Bobby. It's the new name, The Legend of Fall Creek. But either way, let's see what happens when you just say Black Pumpkin. Is it just us? Oh, number 2. I'm number 2. Not number 1. I'm not generic enough to be number 1. There's another one. Horror Brains. Oh, there's me again. So just by virtue of people doing interviews or talking or whatever, this is all about being able to make sure that you have stuff that's consumable for people to be able to write reviews, to be able to share on the internet. Let's go and look at the Facebook. It's basically, interesting. Well, either way, this isn't the cover photo that I thought it was going to be there. Well, I digress. Those are my picks. And people are chatting with me. What's this? This is awesome. I'm watching while on Kapow, IFF.com. I'm assuming that's Kurt. Kurt, is that what you're saying? Yeah, Twitch has been a lot of fun. You know, it's definitely a good way to be able to get the word about the festival and be able to talk about, you know, talk about the filmmaking process, talk about the marketing process, talk about the creative process, and um, I hope that you found this entertaining and interesting. And I think I'm going to be doing more and more of these, and talking about Photoshop and naming convention, and also about asset creation and making sure that you've got the right assets, and making sure that it's consumable, so that people can help you help you. No, no. What do I need to say now? Help me help you. Yeah. But that's all I got. So, yeah, it's almost 9 o'clock. Oh man, I think we've been doing this for 2 hours now. So, hope you had fun. I enjoyed talking about it. I was feeling a little tired. It's been a long weekend. And once I just started talking about fonts and color gradients and overlays, I was totally fine. So, later, nerds!
Kapow!